This product here uses the latest state-of-the-art
technology and is easily recognized by tech enthusiasts. Keep that in mind. Now the second product, the yellow turns into blue. Unbelievable, right? Okay, hand me that cup of water.
For the last product, the very popular one that everyone recognizes.
I don't want it.
Hello, I'm Luke from IGM. A very exhaustive explanation was given and a lot of information was prepared, but the customer wasn't impressed in the least. What is the problem? The problem lies in the failure of the delivery and not being able to identify what the customer wanted to hear. What does this mean? World-renowned sales strategist Jill Conrath suggests the four following points: simple, invaluable, aligned, and priority, which are abbreviated to SNAP. Let us take a closer look. As most of you are aware, customers do not have the desire or the patience to listen to long speeches by salespeople. They simply want the specifics, what pertains to them. In other words, the main points of what's being offered. Despite this, there are still many salespeople who rattle on and on to no end. This results in the consumer mindset of avoid all salespeople at all costs. It's important to remember that the less time you spend with a consumer, the less likely you will be rejected as a salesperson. Unfortunately, many salespeople think little of shorter meetings and go into them without making the proper preparations. More often than not, this results in a rushed and embarrassing mix of gibberish that's a complete waste of time for both the salesperson and the customer. To avoid mistakes like this, preparing a meeting scenario ahead of time is recommended. In other words, briefly organize things like what main points you're going to deliver to the customer, how many options will be described and offered, and when and how all related data will be presented, to name a few. The important thing is to make sure the meeting scenario prepares the meeting to be as concise as possible. For example, prepare to deliver the main message within a few minutes, and prepare the next course of action depending on whether the customer shows interest and the desire to hear more or not. Doing so will allow a salesperson to conduct a simple and effective meeting according to the customer's desire. After you get the customer's attention through a short and concise sales pitch, you must offer them a benefit or a differentiated value proposition that appeals to them. For instance, imagine a salesperson selling health insurance. This package has a monthly fee of $50 which covers benefits for 10 different ailments such as stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer, and diabetes. At the end of every year, it automatically renews itself. What do you think? Is this a health insurance package that you want to sign up for immediately? No, it isn't. But what if the sales pitch went beyond delivering objective information and appealed to the value it offered? In other words, think about the things that offer value from the customer's point of view and think about what comparisons and examples can be offered to describe the benefits to the customer. Something like the following could be said. This health insurance package covers the 10 most common ailments people in their 50s face. This package is 1.5 times cheaper than what others offer. Do you know how much you would save with this health package? The savings from 1 year of this health package would equal a week's worth of gas for your car. 5 years would equal the extracurricular educational costs for your children. Isn't this sales pitch much more effective in getting a customer's attention? But wait, there's more. Even if a customer understands and admits that your product or service has value, they will not choose your product or service unless it directly relates to them. For example, regardless of how effective a dietary product might be, if the customer has no interest in losing weight, they will simply say, "This product has nothing to do with me," and move on. When persuading customers, try to relate and offer a product or service that match their specific needs, a solution to their specific problem. In order to accomplish this, One must determine and understand the customer's interest and/or problems ahead of time. If the customer is a company, researching interviews and articles of the company can help in determining what problems exist ahead of time. But what can be done if it's difficult to determine a customer's problems ahead of time? When this happens, refer to similar case studies relevant to their situation so that the customer can draw parallels to the same problems being issued. For example, according to general statistics, there is a 35% chance that average adults get cancer. For people over the age of 50, that number doubles. We get numerous calls all day long about healthy people who suddenly get sick and are faced with incredibly high medical expenses. This is something that can happen to anyone. Why not prepare for it? Making a proposal that relates your product or service to the problems of the customer increases the possibility that they will be more open to your sales pitch. There are customers who will resist your sales pitch even after you have thoroughly related your product to their problem. These customers would say, "I know that it's something I need, but there are substantial costs involved, and I do not know why I must purchase it now." In order to properly close the sale, you must persuade the customer to accept your proposal by emphasizing that their problem needs to be addressed urgently. But how? Normally, people react far more sensitively when the emphasis is on what they can lose instead of what they can gain. This is otherwise known as loss aversion. By correctly stimulating this, you can give your sales pitch priority over everything else. For example, obviously, your priority is supporting your children's education and living expenses. However, as a father who is responsible for the well-being of your family, you must prepare for the future. In the unfortunate event that you become seriously ill, your entire family will be forced to suffer and find alternative ways to maintain a standard of living. As the pressure and suffering builds over time, the blame for that situation will be placed on you. Making the right decisions now can help you and your family avoid all that eventual grief and suffering. Let's review. First, offer them a simple or short and concise message. Then give them something invaluable or the value your product or service offers. Still haven't hooked the customer? Then have your product or service aligned to them. In other words, appeal to the direct relationship between the customer's problems and how your product or service can help. If you still haven't convinced the customer to purchase your product or service, finish the sales pitch with priority by explaining the reasons why now is the time to make the purchase.